And right now I'm working as a cloud software engineer and doing a co-op of 8 months at a New York life insurance company in New York. So the main thing that I would like to share with you all about the co-op search is number one, networking, and number two, being always proactive while you're actively searching for co-ops. So what I mean to say is that every day just go on LinkedIn. If you have any networking events that get shared by any of our advisors or any works or anywhere, just go there and try to make connections with recruiters, with people who are searching co-ops, internships, everything. And also if we have to remain consistent with our effort throughout the process and not get bogged down by any rejections is my main advice to everyone who's doing a co-op search right now. And apart from that, I also wanted to share some resources that helped me while I was searching for co-op and internship. So number one is VMock. That is the VMock and big resumes are two things that are given to us by Northeastern. We could go there and get our resumes reviewed for free. So we can just upload our resumes to VMock and get suggestions, which could be grammatical, logical. There are many suggestions given by VMock software, and it's really helpful. And another thing is Big Resume, which is like a platform wherein you can go and practice your behavioral interview skills and also technical interview skills. These are the Northeastern resources, and other resources are Pram referral. So these are also similar resources such as VMock and Big Resume, but the only thing is that there this is not provided by Northeastern, but it's for free, so we can use that as well. And also the Northeastern Career Design Studio, it offers us advisors who can help us review our cover letter and LinkedIn profiles, go through it together with us on a screen share and help us improve it. And lastly, if looking for a technical internship, then definitely while doing all this, improving a cover letter, resume, practicing technical skills is also very important. So for that, I would definitely recommend Lead Code Hacker Rank. And also, there are a couple of links that I've given, the coding patterns, Blind Certified. These are few things that really help me, and I think that it could help you as well. And finally, as I just mentioned in the beginning, please don't lose hope. You will get hundreds of rejections, or you could get it in the first try, but we should keep on trying. That will be the main thing that I would like to share with everyone who's present here. Um, I'll pass on to Sinjani now.
Thanks, Shobna. As Shobna rightly mentioned, we first of all we shouldn't lose hope. Like it's a long process, but then definitely if we try hard, then it's not very difficult to get a co-op. So my first point would be to be active on AnyWorks because it has helped me to get my co-op. I'm doing my data science co-op at Danfoss right now, and I'm a master's in data science student at Corey. So I was pretty active on AnyWorks while I was looking for my co-op. If you want to get, regular updates whenever the jobs are posted there, then I would recommend to download the app, which is the Simplicity app, and you'll get the notifications whenever the jobs are posted. Because I feel that applying early has helped me, because at times applications are viewed on rolling basis, and employers tend to close applications pretty fast. So that's another point. Apply as early as possible. Also, I try to tailor my resume as much as logically possible for a few of the companies, because like it's not possible for all the companies, but at least for the dream companies which you're applying for, you can tailor your resume along according to the job description. Because at times for the first round of filtering resumes, companies tend to use application tracking softwares, and they don't really get to read between the lines of your resume. So they'll pick up keywords, and based on that, your resume will get selected. So that's another point. Other than that, we can definitely use VMOC for, as Shobna mentioned, for formatting the resume and also checking for grammatical errors and spelling errors. Those are very important. You shouldn't have any of those in your resume, any grammatical or spelling errors. And formatting should be pretty good. Other than that, there are other online tools which can match your resume to the job description. So you can use that. There are some open source tools which give you certain free trials where you can match your resumes. After that, it's paid. Also, networking helps. If you're searching for internships, then I think LinkedIn is the key. You can get a lot of internship openings on LinkedIn as well as Co-op, but I would say that NU Works has more Co-op openings than I have personally found in LinkedIn. Yeah. And obviously my final idea would be, never give up until and unless you are done searching for the Co-op, and you will get it. Like, you can do this. Also, one more thing which I did was, when once I received an interview call, most companies give the profile of the panelists who are going to interview you. So you can go ahead and have a glance at their LinkedIn profile just to get an idea of their background, and that can help you getting an idea about how or in what direction your interview might get steered. So yeah, that's something which you can do that might help. That's all for me. So passing ahead to the next speaker.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Saish. So I'm also a current computer science graduate student. Right now I'm working as a full stack software engineer with Fidelity Investment, and this summer I'm gonna join Amazon as a software development engineer intern. So like about the co-op, I would totally agree with Shobna and Sinjini about like how to approach, like applying for different co-ops and internship. And once you get a call, how to navigate the process from over there. So yeah, like from the start, the first thing is about your resume. And Northeastern our Khori community avails us a lot of resources through which we can use to tailor our resumes and our cover letter. We have VMOC, we have Big Resume, as well as you can have different sessions with your co-op advisors as well as with Korean Design Studio, and they will really help you to tailor each and every point in your resume as well as in your cover letter. So that's the first thing. The second thing about getting the co-op or internship is the networking. So networking really very helps you a lot. We have a lot of sites like LinkedIn, Handshake, and there's one particular site, NU Source, which is basically a connection, like a alum resource in which you can connect with different alumni of our community, and basically they assign you mentor and with whom you can ask about different questions that you have regarding different companies. And the other thing that I would like to suggest is to practice algorithms. So like this really helped me a lot while getting a call. So basically, like you'll apply to n number of companies, and the first step to get an interview call is to crack their online assessment. So make lead code your friend, like have your friend circle in which you daily practice lead code, discuss those lead code questions among your friends, and in that way you'll gain a good exposure to different algorithmic questions, and definitely you can crack your online assessment. And once you get a interview call, it gets really very easy, because in that all you have to talk is about your resume. So for your resume you can take some courses which have project at the end, like a final assignment, so you have something to talk about. So yeah, that's all from my side.
Hey, thanks, Shaish. Hi, everyone. I am Sahel Ahmed, and I'm MS in data science student. Currently, I'm doing my co-op at Motorola, working in the computer vision field. So I think Shobna, Sinjini, and Sesh have really explained well as to how different resources are there at your disposal and you can make use of them. uh, in regards to that, in addition to that, I would also want you guys to stress upon the importance of how mental strength is something which is very important for you during these times. Now, co-op is definitely not the end of your graduate life. You need to understand that there are people who get co-op in the first month. There are people who get it in the second month, third month, even on the last day of the next semester deadline registrations. So co-op is a different cycle for everyone. It's a different journey. You get it when you get it. Do not try and compare your experience to those of your roommate, to of your friends. Maybe they are getting it early and you do not. Maybe they're getting 15 calls happening. They are having 15 calls at the moment, and maybe you're just having one or two. So do not compare yourself. Do yourself a favor. Initially, from my personal experience, I used to compare, see my friend, someone who had much worse grades or maybe not that adequate projects as compared to me. I would compare and say that, okay, why do they have a call and I don't? And try and avoid that situation. It will help you. It will help your situations. There were nights when maybe I was just crying myself to bed, thinking that, okay, I'm not getting a call, maybe I'll not have anything this semester. So maybe try and avoid those situations. Everyone is going through failures. All of them are having their own different journeys. uh, no, maybe nobody will accept that on their face, but everyone is concerned that what is happening. But at the end, I also want to suggest that just getting a co-op is kind of a good thing, but it's not the end of your graduate life. You can always make much better use cases. I know so many people who did not get co-op in the first chance. They ultimately ended up getting a very good co-op in the second ones. There are people who got brilliant co-ops in the first chance, but could not convert that into full time. And there are people who did not have co-ops, but they worked hard, they used their time, they took a step back, they worked upon their skills, and ultimately had very good full time. So just make use of your opportunities. Getting a co-op is definitely not the end. Second thing is, talk about, there needs to be talking point when you interact with someone, when you network with someone, when you're sitting in an interview. You need to have talking points. You need to have stories that you narrate. Those stories can be your work experience, they can be your technical skills, they can be the projects that you have done in your courses. So those are the stories that you will be discussing. At an individual level, you need to bring out those from inside you, from your experiences, from the time that you've been spending. So try and create more stories, more points that you can discuss. One of the examples that I would want to take is, apart from the projects and all the discussions that I was having, in one of the interviews, there were 5 interviewers who were taking that. And one of them asked as to, what do I do as my hobby? What do I do in my free time apart from data science? How do I spend my time? And they were just trying to check how dynamic as a person I am. Am I someone who's just into data science and not doing anything else? So I had a discussion, a good 10-minute discussion about baseball fantasy league and football fantasy league, of how I'm spending time over there. So those are the kind of discussions. In another one, I had a discussion about my work experience in China, and we discussed upon one of the favorite restaurants. So the person was also Chinese, and I was just discussing that this is one of the Indian restaurants that you have to try. So we had kind of a normal conversations going on. So you need to have those talking points going about in your interactions. So keep those as focus as well. uh, Apart from that, I think everyone said this about networking, and you cannot stress enough about this point. Make use of LinkedIn, make use of NU sources, not just for finding jobs, but also to finding about the job description, about what is the work going on in the team that you want to go, or the company that you want to apply to. Try and talk to people and ask who are the major companies that generally do come to Northeastern University and what is their time cycle. If you want to start in January, you need to have co-op a few days before that. If you offer in your hand a few days before that, for that you need to have your resume ready at some point. If that's the case, you have to start applying at some point. So try and plan this timeline as to, August is when I need to have a very good resume ready for applying. Then September, October is when I should expect some calls. You need to have a timeline or frame in your mind. And how do you get that? Is by discussing with people who have gone through this journey. So try and connect with people, try and ask them that which are the different companies which come up, what is their process, do they have 3 rounds, do they have 5 rounds, what are the kinds of questions they ask, how do I prepare for those. Those are the questions that you should talk to about the people who've already gone through this journey. So try and be the person with a plan, and that's how it will help you succeed. Finally, tailor your resume according to each and every different job description that you're having. What I used to do was focus a lot upon what the job description is, try and find out people who are actually working in that team and ask them what the work they're doing, and try and tailor my resume for that specific role. See if I can include some project which I have done or some experience that I can bring out. And I think that is what you need to keep your be ready for before you apply. Don't just try and put a one size fit all resume for all the job descriptions that you're going for. So I think keep that in mind and memorize it in and out. So from my personal experience again, I started early about in August when I started applying for jobs which I did not really want to go for, but I wanted to bring out the experience of a mock interview. I started applying to jobs which were unpaid roles, which were which was not something which I would actually go for. So I started applying for that, maybe getting a call, maybe interacting with them, trying to explain my resume, trying to explain myself, getting that experience, the initial jitters out of that, which ultimately helped me prepare for the main interviews that I wanted to go for. So I think you can also do that. Definitely go for mock interviews. That will help you fine tune where or what is the things that you're lacking, and that will definitely help you out. So yeah, more or less these points. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you had a good day until now. I saw a question in chat, which is, how do you know when you're ready to apply? To be honest, I'm doing my co-op at Wayfair right now, data engineering co-op. I don't think I'm ready even now, but there's no correct time to find out if you're ready or not. You just have to apply. Need to begin applying from get-go. That's what I wanted to clarify. And then you should brace yourself for rejection and disappointment. I'll tell you what happened when I was applying for my co-op. I got my co-op during the second cycle, not during the first cycle. During the first cycle, I was not being proactive. I just blindly applied for co-ops, and then I had to apply for about 200 to 300 internships and co-ops in the first cycle. And then it was just disappointment all over. So during my second cycle, I found out what stuff I was doing wrong, and then I tried to make amends with that, and then take a better approach. So the lucky few might get offers or calls only after a few applications, but that's not the case for everyone. You have to persevere through the difficult phase and never stop applying for the co-ops. You might feel like that's taking you nowhere, but still you shouldn't be stopped by that. And then make it a habit to spend 20 to 30 minutes a day about what you're going to do next. So you should always have a clear picture in your mind about what your next step is going to be. And then never don't be shy or afraid to ask for help. So I was a little skeptical about approaching people on LinkedIn at first, and then I thought, okay, why would they refer me if they don't know me? But then later on, I just looked up the alumni on LinkedIn who attended Northeastern, and then I just kept asking all of them for referrals. So all of them might not reply, but you might find one odd person who might take an interest and then refer you to the company that you're looking for. So that's one thing. Then make use of the resources provided by the university. This is, I cannot stress this enough. Just make use of the resources provided by the university.
Great, thank you to all of our students for sharing your experiences. We're going to move now into the Q&A portion of the event. So feel free to, for all of our participants, feel free to unmute and ask your question, or you can also type it in the chat as well.
Hello, Hani here. How are you doing today? I had a question regarding all the data science side. What are your past experience in terms of projects? How many projects did you had, or in terms of you had before even joining Northeastern University, do you had any experience which helped you landing the job, and what are the projects you have on your resume when you applied?
So Sahel, I would like to answer that. If you want to answer, then you
Yeah,
can.
go ahead, Sanjani.
Yeah. So about the projects, definitely academic projects have helped me a lot. um, I tried, actually, I took both SML and USML, both the subjects before my co-op. So those are the subjects which mainly give you a chance for good projects that you can showcase in your resume. So other than that, since you asked about some experience before Northeastern, I did have a certain experience before that, and that was mostly related to NLP or text mining. So that's why I say that SML and USML has helped me, because taking SML and USML, I got to do some projects with the statistical point of view, or maybe you would say something which is not related to NLP. So that helped me get a good amalgamation of both text analysis and normal statistical analysis in my resume. Other than that, I know of people who do independent projects, like neither from past experience or nor subject related. They just do it out of their own interest. And even I have done a project or two like that. Definitely having all your projects well documented and the code in GitHub helps, because at times, if you put your GitHub link on your resume, then companies may get more interested in your resume. So yeah, um, that's what I have to share. I'm sure others would give more tips as well.
I can speak about this as well. So you mentioned about like prior projects. So I directly started doing my master's degree straight out of undergrad. So I have no prior work experience. So this was a major roadblock for me during my first semester. I couldn't just immediately start applying for internships or co-ops. I had to like build my resume and then do a couple of projects to actually bolster it. So that's my situation. And it's not that you only have to do projects in the academic scope, like only for the subjects that you're taking, or you can also do them individually on your free time. And then definitely doing projects on contemporary topics helps.
Hey, adding to that, I think more or less Anjani and Karthik have kind of summarized that. But to be honest, yes, it kind of gets a bit difficult if you don't have any work experience. But that's just about the talking points that I was discussing about. How you can go about is, don't think that you need to be a very skilled person in the 4 months that you have. Rather focus on the small baby steps. If you think about it, you can take up 2 courses which give you 2 projects, and those 2 projects can be your talking points. Apart from that, maybe you can build small baby steps and take maybe some kind of hackathons that you can participate in, or maybe one individual project that you can do. That gives you 3 that you can talk about, and I think that is more or less enough. You won't have so much time to discuss about 5 6 projects that are going on. Ultimately, any discussion that you have with any recruiter or any interviewer, it's about 1 or maybe 2 projects at max that you would want to delve deep into. So don't think you need to have a lot of depth. You need to have a lot of breadth. Rather, you need to go a bit into depth as well. So I think focus on that. Focus on the small steps. Don't think about immediately reaching or covering a journey which someone else has covered in 2 or 3 years of work experience. You cannot. Just take on those small steps, and I think it will be helpful.
I think there are some questions in the chat as well. So if any of you guys would like to take those up and answer, like how intensive is the process of finding a co-op in terms of balancing your coursework, building your resume, doing projects, applying to positions, etc. Um, So I would say it's all about time management. Yeah, since you've listed all those things out, it definitely is a packed process, and your day typically would look like starting with probably all the coursework, and then whenever you find time, adding some bits and pieces to a resume, doing one or two applications here and there, then again going back doing your assignments. But yeah, again, as I said, that it's all about time management. What I used to do is I used to keep the least productive, or not least productive, something which would take very less of mental work for the night, like applications. So if you have your resume ready and you just need to go on applying, that is something which you can do by the end of the day. Definitely when exams are approaching or when you have a deadline, uh, at that point it's better to concentrate more on your assignments or more on your project work, because you don't want to lose on your grades. But having said that, there was a time during the spring co-op search where I had to balance between the exams as well as my interviews, and that is something which is difficult. But again, I would say that exams are something which you know beforehand. So if you can manage to, kind of study a bit beforehand, and or something like do the heavy studying beforehand, so that during your interviews maybe you can put some more time for the interviews and just revise for your exams, then somehow you can just juggle, I would say. uh,
Even I would like to add something for that question. So when I was searching for a co-op last semester, I had, I'm from computer science, so I had PDP, and everyone knows how, like how PDP is. Or if you haven't done it yet, then you would soon know. But basically, with a intense subject, I also had to do a co-op search. So definitely for someone who is going through that, I would suggest that it's better to write down what all pending tasks are remaining, and what all things are pending for you this week or today. Like for example, as soon as you start applying, you might start getting coding test. So, and each one will have a deadline. So, and you might not be able to do it immediately as soon as you get it. So it's better to have like a sticky note in front of your table or wherever your study space is, and note everything down, like this XYZ company, this is the deadline, this company, this is the deadline, and this is the interview date for this one. And also have one more sticky note with all the deadlines you have for your coursework. So and it is really important to have priorities set, so you can prioritize which is more important, whether doing the assignment, uh, doing an assignment which has a deadline of tomorrow obviously is more important than a coding exam which can be pushed for 2 more days. So setting priorities. And one more thing is, if you can, then do try to take a light subject when you are sure you're going to do a co-op search. So if it is possible for you to take a light subject, like maybe a 500 series subject or something like that, then that would really help you to have more time to do a co-op search. That was my opinion, which I had seen with my friends. I took a very heavy subject, so it became very difficult for me. I had to like properly plan my day out, and utilize each and every minute of the day and even the weekends. But I've seen that if you take a lighter subject, then it becomes uh, a bit simple to have sufficient time to do both your coursework and your co-op search. Yeah, that's from my opinion. That's from my experience.
Looks like the next question in the chat is if any of you had multiple offers, how did you make your decision on which one to choose?
So yeah, so that was the case for me for the spring co-op. So I would suggest like it it totally depends on your interest. So like in the previous co-op, I have two of us, both were from the financial sector, fintech companies. So but I like the job description for the Fidelity investments more. So it totally depends on the job description. And when you have gotten to that stage, you will have a good rapport with your hiring manager, and he have clearly stated the different roles and responsibilities that you will be handling during those 6 months. So yeah, like if you have a good talk with both of these multiple offer companies, then I think it would help you to make a better decision. Hope that
I
helps.
can add to that. So I think that is one situation that totally depends upon what you want to get out of your 6 months or whatever your internship or co-op time period is. Uh, I had a similar situation where I had to decide between Motorola and Tesla, and Tesla had a role of data engineering, whereas Motorola was more into computer vision. And I remember having a discussion with Kathy. It was a dilemma. Even I was discussing as to which one would be the right choice to make. So ultimately, it comes up to be whether you want to whether there are different situations that people are facing. There are some who have to repay their loan, so for them I think monetary value comes up immediately into question, that whichever is higher paying, they want to go for that. Sometimes it's just about the people or the team that you want to work with or the role that you want to do into, or sometimes it's about what do you want to get into the future. Is there an opportunity, or is this the particular field that you want to be in the future? Maybe go ahead with that. I had one of the opportunities where I had to work more upon SQL, and I felt that I had already learned that, and I didn't think that there would be a lot of growth opportunities for me. So I tried and let that be. So I think it totally depends upon you what you choose. There are multiple facets, there are multiple parameters that you need to evaluate, and then go ahead with your decision.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for being here. It's been such an informative panel. I had a quick question. How did you all know that you wanted to do a co-op versus an internship?
So maybe I can answer that one. So it totally depends actually. So an internship basically means something along the lines of 12 weeks to 16 weeks, and a co-op is maybe a little longer. And so it depends. It's actually uh, totally depend. Actually, the main thing is that internships are something that is really popular on the West Coast, and co-ops are more prominent on the eastern coast. So the companies that you are trying to focus, if they are mainly in the eastern coast, then obviously you might be looking to a co-op. And if you are looking at tech companies like Amazon, or the FANG companies, or Uber, Lyft, or any other technical companies which are mainly predominant on the West Coast, then they would offer internships rather than co-ops. So it depends upon what is the kind of opportunity that is being offered by the target companies that you are planning to, or you dream to work for. So maybe along those lines you can search for the opportunity.
Also adding to that, I would say that in Corey, since as graduate students we can go for 2 cycles. So like at times people tend to balance, and for one cycle they go for an internship and the other they go for a co-op. Personally, I feel that if you go for a co-op, then in companies they tend to engage you in long-term projects, or you might be able to complete what you start. Whereas in internships, since the time period is shorter, so there's a high chance that you might have to drop the project in between and someone else would be completing your work, or you might get engaged in some short term project. But like, having said that, there's no specific advantage or disadvantage to any of it. Both of them have their own pros, and it completely depends on personal preference. Yeah, and having said that, as Shobna mentioned, most of the FANG companies, they don't offer co-ops, they only offer internships. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Mohan and Sinjini.
There's one question in the chat that let me answer that. Like for targeting Spring 22 co-op internship, when should one start looking for it? June would do. So when I was searching for a Spring 21 co-op, I started around July end because the job postings they might start by June end, sorry, July end, and most of the job postings are out by August, and you should be very proactively applying for jobs definitely in August, but you can start looking for the job postings by July end. I think that should be enough. But if it is in NU Works, like Kathy mentioned, it will be end of September. But if in LinkedIn, I'm mentioning that like in LinkedIn, you might start seeing job posts by July end or August.
I have a question. I'm wondering if you all were tracking the positions that you applied for, if you had just how you stayed organized with the whole process. Did you have a spreadsheet? What would you recommend in terms of just staying organized with your search?
Uh, I think one thing that I did was for each of the posting that I applied, uh, whatever changes I was doing, that resume as well as the cover letter, I kept it saved in a folder along with the job description as well. So there was a Word document which had the job description. There was the resume which I had applied for that job as well as the cover letter. Whatever changes I was making, I was storing those in a folder, and those were the documents which I'd used for applying. As for tracking, I think majorly it will be the email communications that you'll be getting, whether it's a acceptance or a rejection or maybe a next round that you have to move to. So regarding that, yes, that can be one of those things that you can pin it in your Outlook, or maybe you can also maintain an Excel which just documents each step of different companies that you've got the call from, and what step is there, what is the deadline. Maybe there's a deadline that you have to apply for a coding test. So I think a Excel document can also be helpful in that.
Yeah, I totally agree with Sahil on this. So like for organizing the calls or the calls that you have for co-ops and internship, so the important thing is your email chain. So definitely whenever you're done, whenever you get the first mail about your online assessment, you can definitely flag that particular mail, and like Shobna mentioned, you can maintain a to-do list with the date and the link for it, where you have to give that particular online assessment. And if it goes further, you'll get another mail for scheduling an interview with the panelist. So again, you can just flag the mail, and in that way, you can look up for the panelist on the LinkedIn. So yeah, you can just keep that particular information handy, so it would help you. Not I don't think like maintaining the list for all the companies that you have applied, it won't be helpful. NU works pretty great in this, because like in NU works you can keep track of every application you have applied for, and even on that you can just check the status as well, under review, or rejected or approved, or to the next stage. So that might help you to keep organize all your job application.
I have one more suggestion. So this is not just by me, but a couple of more friends have also have done this. But there is a tool called Notion, and there might be more tools available similar to this. But in that, you can actually create like it's kind of a spreadsheet, but you can also keep all the cover letters and resumes that you have used to apply for jobs. So what I'm trying to say is that you start applying by July or August, or you might keep on applying for a long time, and in between you might do a VMwork and you might improve your resume, or you might have done a project or two and you might add that to your resume, edit the resume in some way. So but when you go for an interview, you need to know that what is there in the resume so that you can speak about it. So this tool can be really helpful because it might feel that it's a bit tedious, but definitely if you keep track, like, okay, for X company this is the resume I used and this is the cover letter I used, you can actually upload it there. And and also the details about what you have filled in that and what was the date and what is the current state, like you have completed the first round of interview, second round of interview. So and this helps in not applying for the same company twice accidentally. So yeah, so was really helpful for me, so maybe you guys can check it out. It's called Notion.
Thank you. So we have 15 minutes left, so there's time for more questions.
I'll ask a question. So
Okay.
what did you do after the interview? Some best practices.
After the interview, or like preparing for the interview, Kathy?
After the interview, you had an interview, and then what did you do? What are some best practices?
Never forget to send a thank you email.
Yeah,
A
That is one
follow-up
of
mail
the
goes a
a
long
follow-up
way.
mail goes a long way.
I think that goes a long way because I was in some networking event and the recruiter there mentioned that not a networking event but a LinkedIn post I was going through, and a recruiter mentioned that any candidate who sends a thank you email makes a better impression than someone who does not send. So it shows that it actually matters. The interview actually matters to them.
There's a question in chat from Nettie, so I can answer that. What was it like to get, what was it like on the co-op, and how is the workload, asking for help, length of projects, collaboration? So I'm doing my co-op at Mayfair. I'm doing a data engineering co-op. Basically, they integrated me as a full team member instead of just giving me a project and casting me aside for the rest of the 6 months. So I think this is what happens for co-ops in general. You get to work as a full-time team member. I regularly take part in the sprints, the weekly sprints and weekly stand-up meets. And then, yeah, we follow the agile methodology of like doing the projects or whatever dev work we do. So that's how it is.
I think to add to what Karthik said, I would say that the workload would obviously depend a lot upon the company that you're working for. But in general, if you're a co-op, then as I mentioned earlier, they generally tend to add you to a long-term project. So in my experience, I too attend the daily team stand-ups and communication with other team members who have been working on that project which I've been assigned to. So in general, I personally have started getting to know a lot of people in the organization, and uh, then whenever I've reached a milestone, my manager has always asked me to present it to maybe the a director of the department or someone who's leading the project. So that has helped me with improving my presentation skills, because converting some of your technical knowledge to a business point of view, or expressing what you've done technically from a business angle, that is something um, that I have learned in the past few weeks or past 1 month, and I think that's really valuable. About the length of the projects, again, that would depend, but in general, if you have like a 7 month co-op, it is possible that projects might end, or if you're doing good, then you might, tend to end the project by forming a complete product out of it, or they might get extended. So yeah.
There's also another question from Honey. So yeah, we do know people who have been offered a full-time job for the same company they did a co-op at. If you want to know what the process is for that, I guess it depends on the company, and then depends on their headcount and if they want to hire you or not, and how you have performed at the co-op. Like if it's a 6 month co-op, there'll be like checkpoints. So there's a 3 month checkpoint in general for all companies, I think, and then there's like a monthly checkpoint. So you can initiate the conversation with your manager once you get the co-op, and then you can say that I like the work I'm doing over here, and then I'd like to continue as a full-time employee too after you're done with the co-op. So it all depends on the situation too.
There's a question about lead code and Kaggle. So yeah, Kaggle obviously would help you in getting your projects on your resume, and uh, obviously we all have done that. And even for academic projects, if you're looking for projects or big data sets, Kaggle is a big help. For building GitHub profile, again, Kaggle is a big help. Lead code, yes. For data science interviews, I would say that not all companies have coding rounds in the beginning. If they do, then definitely lead code is helpful. Not only for algorithmic coding, I have found lead code helpful even for SQL questions, and data science interviews tend to stress a lot on SQL. So lead code is definitely a helpful resource for that. I think for CS guys, lead code is the holy grail. The CS students would be able to talk more on that. How early should you start? As early as possible in the season. So if you're looking for a spring co-op, start as early as for applications, start as early as September. Before that, I don't think you would find co-op positions. uh, how early you should start practicing, it's like it begins with the starting of your course. There's no timeline for that, I would say.
I would suggest that lead code for computer science students, especially, it should become like a habit. Like every day you do at least an hour of lead code. So how me and my friends used to do is that we in teams we had a booked 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. slot for us, and all of us would just join the bridge, put ourselves on mute, and just do lead code for that time period. So just take out time and do lead code, if not for like 2-3 hours, but at least for an hour. And if you want to start small, then start small with easy questions, but try to be consistent and to do every day. And if you are nearing to an interview, then I would suggest, I have taken up the premium lead code account, so it is a a good investment. So if you have the premium account, you can get like company specific questions, and then if you have an interview call with a certain company, you can like look at all the different questions that have come up in the past couple of years, and that would be a real good help. And yeah.
Yeah, and in addition to that, with lead code, you can also practice HackerRank. So because like a lot of the companies have their portal on HackerRank, so the online assessment that you will be giving will be on the HackerRank. So yeah, like as Shobna and Sijni said, like lead code is the holy grail for computer science students. So yeah, in addition to that, you can also practice on the hacker rank.
I see a question from Asmita in chat. So for data science co-op, what all should we start preparing for? So basically, I think the most questions are asked about is your project work and the projects that you've done during the course of your master's degree, or previously maybe during an undergrad degree or during your previous work experiences too. So make sure that you know the ins and outs of everything that you've done in the project. It might be a simple project, but you should know the ins and outs of it. Don't stutter while you're talking about that. I mean, it'll give them the false impression that you don't know what you did there. So that's one thing. And then, yeah, they can also ask you like coding questions. That's very much possible. But most, like, I don't think all the data science company posts ask for like ask coding questions.
So I think for data science, I mean, go ahead with the impression that coding will be asked. I mean, if it's not, then better for you. But mostly that what I felt was that they were having a screening round which had major focus on Python and SQL. So keep that in mind. Apart from that, again, concepts of data science. What are the courses that you've taken? What is it that you were studying? If you know the details or the nitty gritties of those, if you're doing a project, you're applying certain methods. What is the reason behind you using that? Why not some other method? Why did you choose a particular technique? Those are the things that you generally talk about. Kaggle project is also something which helps you determine that, not creating a name and a project next to you, but rather if you are kept in a particular situation, if this is the situation with data, why did you select a particular technique in that scenario? And that's the answer that you have to provide. That's where Kaggle will help you focus that, okay, this is the situation. These are the different approaches that different people took. Okay, why did they take that approach? And the answer to that why is what you have to determine. So I think that helps. Keep that in mind and prepare accordingly. And I think that will definitely help.
Another thing is when you do a project, you should build a story out of it, not just randomly speak about it. You don't just apply 10 methods and say, these were the results for these methods. That doesn't make sense. If you're doing a project, you should always be able to like speak about it and then tell a story out of the data. That's a major point.
Also, I would say be good with your basic statistics. What's mean, median, mode? At times, you tend to forget that even under the pressure of an interview. So never do that. They'll like point that out. Other than that, I have personally Googled top 50, top 100 data science questions just before the interview night, and they have helped me. At times, I have found questions directly from those question pools. And obviously, project related questions are there, like Karthik and Sel mentioned. At times, you might get case studies, and you will get actually case studies or data science related assignments, and they generally give you a day or two to complete that. Uh, in my experience, accuracy in those cases matter, but more than that, they look at the logic behind why you have applied the methods that you've applied, and that's the key, explaining the why. So yeah.
So we are just about at time. I want to thank all of our student speakers for being with us and sharing their insights. So much practical advice, such as different courses to take and tailoring your resume to fit the job description, and different tools like VMock and networking. But I think another theme here that I noticed, definitely a takeaway, is that it's also about mindset and just really not comparing yourself to other students, but just really just being able to navigate through the rejections. And so I just want to thank you all so much for being here. Kathy, I don't know if you have anything to add, but this has been wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, just a quick quick update for me too. I can't turn my oh, there I am. Yeah, so just thank you for like such thoughtful responses. And I know that it's so appreciated, first of all, to hear firsthand because you've been through it. And just your words of advice, as Amaret said, don't compare to your classmates, and your time is your time when you're gonna find that opportunity. But preparation is key, and support one another too. I think one of you mentioned, and I thought it was great advice, of like when you're practicing, it sounded like you set up a set time on a daily basis where you sort of work together. So you're going to be doing it in the workforce. You're going to be working as a team on projects. So, start it now. So just thank you again. Great advice.
Thank you. And I've also included a survey in the chat. If you could all just take a minute to fill it out, this will be really helpful for us to have your feedback about the event and then any future topics that you'd like to hear about. So thank you again for being with us, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.